Okay. So good morning, class. Last time we did the role of democracy in health. We started the introduction and we took up the age-old customs which were followed from the time of Ashoka, how the treatment and welfare of people was taken into consideration. He was the first one to have looked after the health aspect of his kingdom. And then we talk about the constitution, where it makes compulsory. The constitution says that every individual should be given proper health facilities equally without any bias. This is given in the constitution and the government is supposed to follow this. Okay. Then we read about what is health. Now, health includes the three kind of well-being. Your mental illness should not be there, physical and your spiritual health. Okay. So if a person is abiding by all these three things, is a healthy person. Okay. If the mind, body, and emotional aspect is healthy, then that person is considered healthy. Okay. Then we talked of healthcare in India. So let us see. We had done this. We had done this healthcare in India, where we talked about the universal healthcare.
Yes,
Yes, we talked about it, the national health policies which the parliament has put forward. Chalo, I will do it again. Okay. Now, healthcare in India. Healthcare in India features a universal healthcare system run by the states and territories of India. The constitution charges every state with raising of the level of nutrition and the standard of living of its people and the improvement of public health as among its primary duties. So now the Constitution of India says that every state, every union territory has to look into account, take into consideration the health aspect of every individual. It has to work for the upliftment of the health and care in every state. Okay. The National Health Policy, please underline this, was endorsed by the Parliament in 1983. That means in 1983, National Health Policy was drawn and put into account. Okay. And it was updated. That means few changes, just as your mobile updates, few changes were incorporated in 2002. Okay. In order to prevent prevent and treat illness, we need appropriate healthcare facilities such as health centers, hospitals, laboratories for testing, ambulances, etc., etc. All these should be there. Okay. Then we talk of AIMS, which is a private institute, which is a government institute where very minimal charges are taken for any incoming patient. It provides with the best health facilities. Then we talk of India has a large number of doctors, clinics, and hospitals. The country also has considerable experience and knowledge in running the public health care system. There's a system of ability to look after the health of a large section of its population scattered over hundreds of thousands of villages. We will go into more detail on this later on. Our country has many money, knowledge, and people with experience, but cannot make the necessary healthcare available to all. So why is it? Because of the population. So we have the best of best doctors and proper facilities, but the population is so vast. Apart from this, there are many other factors. Some of them are illiterate. Some of them are poor. They can't afford. Okay. So these are certain drawbacks which deprive the Indians to get those health facilities, which are very much in advance present in India, in our country. Okay. Now we come on to public and private healthcare services. So we divide the healthcare facilities into two categories. The word says public health service, that means which is open for public through government. It's a government aided work. Okay. The government hospitals, they are called the public hospitals. And then the other one is private health facilities. Private, as the word tells you, it is owned by the rich and big companies or the people who are well-to-do. They themselves are the owners. Nothing has the government has to do nothing with it. Okay, other than to keep a check on them. Okay, So let's come on to public health service. The public health service is a chain of health centers and hospitals which are run by the government. They are linked together so that they cover both rural and urban areas and can also provide treatment of all kinds of problems from common illness to special services. So here is the concept of public health, which is available for all. It provides not only just for common illness, but also for intricate and severe problems, health problems. Okay. And it incorporates both rural as well as urban area. Okay. Primary health care is provided by city and district hospitals, rural primary health centers, which are called PHC, primary health centers. Okay. These hospitals provide treatment free of cost. Clear? Or with a very minimal cost. Okay? At the village level, please switch off your mic. At the village level, where there is usually a nurse and village health worker. They are trained in dealing with common illness and work under the supervision of doctors at the primary health center, that is PHC. Please learn these abbreviations, okay? Such a center covers many villages in a rural area. Now, since rural areas are deprived ones, villages, so there are not so well advanced hospitals there. So what happens is a small hospital is opened in one of the villages, which touches upon and covers up the next surrounding villages. Okay. And in these village hospitals, there is basically a nurse, one attendant, and a few other people, plus a doctor to look for and work for the common illness. Okay. So it is called PHC, Primary Health Care Centers or Health Centers. Okay. Primary care is focused on immunization. Now, please see, primary health, it covers what? Immunization. That means immunity against those common diseases. Okay. Then prevention of malnutrition. That means anyone who's suffering from any deficiency, it checks that. Then pregnancy, if any lady is pregnant, the pregnant women are attended there. Childbirth, that means the child could be treated there, the newly born child. Then postnatal care and treatment of common illness. Postnatal care, once the baby is born, so whatever work is to be done at that time, all this is looked after and many more small things. Clear? For emergencies, these hospitals which are in the rural areas, they are not very apt. So for that, the villagers have to run and rush to the city hospitals. But for these common ailments and common problems, they could rely on these. Patients who receive specialized care or have complicated illness are referred to secondary, often located in district and taluk headquarters, and tertiary care hospitals. So this is the primary care hospital. Okay, but supposing there's a very critical problem or very severe injury or any severe disease, then they are shifted to or referred to the secondary and tertiary areas, which are maybe in the small district or maybe a renowned town or a city. Okay. Moving further, at the district level is the district hospital. Please underline district level. You have a district hospital there that also supervises all the health centers. Large cities have many government hospitals, like in Lucknow. We are a capital city, and we know we have number of government hospitals. Call it from here, civil hospital, then Balrampur hospital. Okay, so there are many. Okay, another important function of public health is to take action to prevent the spread of diseases such as TB, malaria, jaundice, cholera, diarrhea, chikungunya, etc. This has to be done for all houses in the area. This has to be organized by the government with the participation of people, otherwise it is not effective. For example, taking up a campaign to see that mosquitoes do not breed in water coolers, rooftops, etc. This has to be done for all houses in the area. So all these undertakings to fight against any common disease all have to The government issues the orders that this action has to be taken considering everybody around. Clear? So they have a common agenda. Like for COVID, leave these common health problems like TB, malaria, diseases, leave these diseases. Think of the COVID. We had a common aim where all were given vaccination. So who bear those vaccinations? Otherwise, they could have costed you. So it's the government who's looking after the vaccination. Clear? So this is the general agenda which a government which is running that particular area or a state looks after. Okay? And why especially? Because it's a public health care. According to our constitution, it is the primary duty of the government to provide health care facilities to all. See, the constitution says it. Then the government must safeguard the right of life of every person. The Supreme Court said that it was the duty of the government to provide the necessary health services, including treatment in emergency situations. Hospitals and medical staff must fulfill their duty for providing the necessary treatment. So the Constitution says so, and even the law checking body, that is the judiciary, it also says the same thing. If anyone is deprived of the right of life, then that person could be brought to the court of law. Okay, so even the court, the highest judgment area, says so that all should be imparted impartial healthcare facilities. Okay, in recent times, India has eradicated mass famines. However, the country still suffers from high level of malnutrition and disease, especially in rural areas. Now, though we have worked a lot, still many things have to be still worked on. Malnutrition, that means deficiency of the nutrients which are needed in the body. There are many poor children and poor people who do not get the full course of meal. Okay, so people are deprived of the nutritious diet and India suffers from it. Then there are certain diseases which are very common, and most of them are because of the impurity of water. No fresh drinking clean water, pollution. Clear, all these factors play a very major role for any disease. Now, water supply and sanitation in India is also a major issue in the country, and many Indians in rural areas lack access to proper sanitation facilities and safe drinking water. However, at the same time, India's healthcare system also includes entitled entities that meet or exceed international quality standards. The medical tourism business in India has been growing in recent years, and as such, India is a popular destination for medical tourists who receive effective medical treatment at lower costs than in developed countries. So here comes a very important factor. They are telling you that though India is facing number of malnutrition problems, the unhealthy situations of clean drinking water, the proper and hygienic way of sanitation, though it faces all this, yet there is a new term which is coming to us is the medical tourism. Now, what is that? Now, India being such an efficient country when it comes to healthcare, that people from other countries, they visit India to get their treatment, okay, to get their ailment be treated, okay. Now, this is called medical tourism. That means India being cheapen the cost of the medicines. Then the developed countries which are rich, okay, India is still called a developing country. Yeah. So the other countries which have already developed, the big countries like USA, America and all, all these countries are developed countries. So there the cost of medicine is much higher. The treatment is much higher than what India offers. And since the cost is low, so all the other surrounding neighboring countries, they prefer coming to India for their treatment. And this process is called medical tourism. Okay? That means the tourists come, but not for the sightseeing. They come to get the ailment treated. Okay? Private health facilities. Now, just now, till now, we were doing public health facilities. Now we're doing private health. Okay? There is a wide range of private health facilities that exist in our country. A large number of doctors run their own private clinics. In the rural areas, one finds registered medical practitioners, underline this, registered medical professionals, MRPs, okay, RMPs, I'm sorry, registered medical practitioners. Now, urban areas have large number of doctors, many of them providing specialized services. These are hospitals and nursing homes that are privately owned. There are many laboratories that do tests and offer special facilities such as X-ray, ultrasound, etc. There are also shops from where we buy medicines. So now the public is the one owned by the government, but private is the one which is owned by the doctors or the person who has the money to hold up and build up a big hospital. Now, all these private sectors, they have immense and advanced proper health facilities. But at the same time, the rates are very high. Okay, you all must have seen the lovely private hospitals. So neat, so clean, the best services they offer. But the problem is the cost is too high. Okay, now, as the name suggests, private health facilities are not owned or controlled by the government. They are not owned and controlled by the government. Unlike the public health services, in private facilities, patients have to pay a lot of money for every service that they use. Okay. Now, underline that registered medical practitioners, that means those doctors who are medically practicing, they have a registration, the number is allotted to them, and then they can practice as an individual in their private level. That is why these are called, since they are practicing not under the government, they are practicing after getting the registration to practice separately. Okay. Now, today, the presence of private facilities can be seen all around. In India, now there are large companies that run hospitals, and some are engaged in manufacturing and selling medicines. Medical shops are found in every corner of the country. You all must have seen. Next to the hospitals, especially, there are big, huge 2, 3 medical shops, and they have every medicine which is prescribed in that hospital. Yeah. So they have a tie-up also. Yeah. So these are the cases. There are all in all very powerfully advanced and they work in accordance to it. Okay. Then we come on to traditional practices of healthcare. Indigenous and traditional medical practitioners continue to practice throughout the country. The two main forms of traditional medicine practiced are the Ayurveda system and the Unani, that is Galenic herbal medical practice. Now let me tell you, age-old practice it was. Ayurveda was the first medicine facility provided. Okay. And then the Unani. Okay. You must have not heard about them. It is. Close your mic, child. Vaidya, please switch off your mic. A Vaidya, underline Vaidya, is a practitioner of the Ayurvedic tradition, and a Hakim is a practitioner of a Unani or Greek tradition. Okay. Hakim or Vaid ka naam suna hoga, Vaid ji. Okay. So now the people who are treating us in hospitals, we call them doctors. But in ancient times, those who practiced the Ayurvedic medicines to be given, those doctors were called Vaidya. Okay. राजाओं के यहाँ वैद्य आते थे ना, ऋषि मुनि वैद्य को जड़ी बूटी घिस घिसा के औषधियां देते थे. Yes, the plant leaves were used and they were generated. The medicines were made and given. Same with the Unani medicine, which is the Greek tradition, and their doctors were called Hakim. Hakim Saab. You must have seen. Must have heard. Okay. Coming to the next, these professions are frequently hereditary. Now, most of the time, the Vaidya, if a Vaidya is there for Ayurvedic treatment, most of the time his son became the next, because seeing his father dealing with the medicines, he knew half of them. So it was most of the time hereditary. Okay. A variety of institutions offer training in indigenous medical practices. Only in the late 1970s did official health policy refer to any form of integration between allopathy-trained medical personnel and indigenous medical practitioners. In the early 1990s, there were 98 Ayurvedic colleges. Please underline this, 98 Ayurvedic colleges were there, and 17 Unani colleges operating in both the governmental and non-governmental sectors. That means both in private and in public. There were nearly 98 Ayurvedic centers and 17 Unani colleges for medicines, okay, to study that. So we stop here for today. Now, or should we continue? We have 10 minutes more. 4 minutes.